I'm just going to say is that there are two types of agreements. There's going to be a process agreement, and then there'll be a behavioral agreement. So a process.
Welcome to the International Institute for Facilitation's podcast, Spaghetti on the Wall. I'm Eileen Dowse, Chair Emeritus and Director of Assessments for INIFAC. And today I am joined by a very dear friend, Dan Hogan. Dan is a certified master facilitator and also the author and an experienced facilitator of right-minded teamwork and that whole concept of creating work agreements. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Work agreements, the secret to frictionless teams. Welcome, Dan. I can't wait. I need some frictionless teams in my life.
Oh, thank you. And I want to find one too. Where are you? You got to be out there somewhere.
That's right. Subscribe now. Make comments. Tell us, who are you?
And you know what? That's also suggesting that maybe, and I don't know if you're saying this, but it's okay to have friction. It's just
That's
okay
right.
not to let it become a problem.
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes friction is what can help get you to the next point. So we know about that in group dynamics. It's just, there are some facilitators that I've met that are just like, I love facilitating. I just don't like the conflict. And it's like,
Right. Yeah. Right.
can't go over it, can't go under it, can't go around it. Gotta go
Well,
with it.
in this case, and our topic today on work agreements is for them.
Yeah, there we go. Well, okay, so work agreements. Let's get a definition here because I may be facilitating work agreements, yet I don't really know if that is what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I
well,
have a
I'm
pretty
going
good
to let
idea of
me
it.
good question. Let me reply first saying it's not a ground rule, and then I'm going to give you a little bit more of a definition in a moment. But I want to create a larger context. I've created this wonderful poster.
Ah,
Can you see
ooh,
this?
I can
Do
see
no
it.
harm, work as one.
Sounds like
Um,
Star Trek or something like that, right?
Well, yes, but this is one of the it's the philosophical foundation of right-minded teamwork. So, if a facilitator, if a team leader wants to achieve this, then the agreements that we're going to talk about in more detail will help them achieve it.
Oh, nice. Okay. Perfect. So when I think about, hey, we're going to get a working agreement, it's not a rules of engagement, it's not a ground rule, it's not an operating principle. It's the whole big package for the outcome.
Yes, yes, yes. And so let me dive down to a little bit further into what is an agreement. And there in this oh, and I should say promote my book.
Please
Uh,
promote it.
uh, this this is a detailed description of the 10 steps on how to facilitate. And it's what it's going to say is that there are two types of agreements. There's going to be a process agreement, and then there'll be a behavioral agreement. So a process agreement could be around decision protocols, it could be roles and responsibilities, et cetera. A behavioral agreement could be how do we communicate with one another? How do we address crucial conversations in a respectful manner? Okay, so now the idea of having agreements is important because you just if you want to achieve the do no harm, work as one philosophy, you've got to know how to get there. So that these agreements map out how you get there as a team. Another way of describing agreements that they could be internal to the team, they could be between departments, between a customer and a supplier. So there's a lot of opportunity for a work agreement.
Well, and okay, thank you. And what should go in these agreements? So we have process agreements, we have behavioral agreements that can all be one package, correct? In your mind?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Right.
So what goes into them?
Okay. There in the structure, and I'm going to say what goes in them. What is the structure? There are really two parts. There's the intention statement, and what's below that are what we call clarifications or acceptances. What we need to have in the agreement so I can be willing to live this agreement going forward. So the intention statement is broad sometimes. It's like we agree to resolve all of our conflicts. Well, the clarifications and conditions for acceptance are the details. And another fun thing here, I'll let you take it where you want to. Some teams just need a simple intention statement and a couple of clarifications. But some teams, some teammates, some people need really detailed stuff, detailed descriptions.
Right.
So as the facilitator, and it's important to work with your team leader, because if you've got a team that really loves detail and gets lost in detail, et cetera,
Right.
you don't want to enable that behavior. So you don't want an agreement that's 14 pages long. But
Right.
but then here's a term that I use quite often. It's got to be fit for purpose.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Fit for purpose, and so I think maybe there are probably other couple of items about what is an agreement from the right-minded teamwork standpoint, but it's got to make the agreement is the first step. To live the agreement is the next step.
Okay, so now you must you're a mind reader too, as well as an author. How do you hold people accountable? We could tie that into what consequences for people if they break this work agreement.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Great question. In the 10 steps, step 9 is what I call interlocking accountability. And let me do a pause and go to, as a facilitator mindset, and just remind people who are listening, and certainly you and I know this. As facilitators, we're helping them design their agreements and what's in them.
Right.
We don't tell them what's going to go into it.
Right.
We also don't tell them how to create interlocking accountability. So one of the things you're going to find in this book is a ton of questions. And one of them is one that you just said. I think I'm going to paraphrase it. But when you're creating the team's first agreement and you get to that step, you may decide, and if what you've heard among the team, you would say, well, everybody makes New Year's resolutions, right? And everybody starts laughing. And you don't necessarily follow through with it. If we lived this agreement, you as the facilitator would be telling them, if you lived it, you would achieve your goal, right? Yes, they would say. Well, if someone unintentionally broke the agreement,
Right.
how would we call it out? How would we address it? And you shut up as a facilitator and you let them talk. And now they're talking about how to do a compassionate, loving, caring, whatever way to hold people accountable.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. Okay. So we have this working agreement. People understand what they're accountable for, the consequences if they break it. How long does a typical working agreement last?
Oh, good question.
I got I got pages of them down.
Well, they can last for a year or two, but I assure you, if you do something else that's in this book and talk about how do you sustain these agreements, there are a number of ways to do that. But one of them would be what I call agreement review moments. So most teams have regular meetings where everybody's there. So you kick off the beginning of the meeting and have a 2 or 3 minute agreement review moment. And so if you've got 5 agreements, you might take one and say, how are we doing on this? And then they self-evaluate.
Yeah.
But they could also say at that particular moment, I like the agreement, but can we make this change? Or now what's happened, I've seen it in a lot of teams, you might have 5 agreements And then in 6 months, you don't need all 5 of them because you take elements of this agreement, take elements of that agreement, you put it into another agreement, and now you've only got 2 agreements, and then you live for another year, or you only need 1 agreement. But if you're living the spirit and intent of your intention statements, they last as long as they need to last.
I love that because it sounds like it's a working document covered in reality.
It's an evergreen, it lives, it breathes, yes.
And sometimes you chop it down and
Bingo.
say,
Well,
you know what?
Well, because you don't need it.
Right.
That's, you just don't need it.
Yeah. And we're not going against, chopping down trees. I'm also an environmentalist, so please don't think I'm chopping down trees. You talked about the behavioral agreements. That certainly is something always important to me on how participants behave, how I behave as a facilitator in the room. What about the psychological goals that go into this? Because as these people show up, you and I are going to be making this agreement, and maybe I've had a bad experience with you and I don't trust you. Or maybe I had a bad experience at my previous work, or this is how we've always done it before. How do you incorporate those fears, wants, needs, and desires of the individuals?
Great question. Let me try to headline an answer, and if you want to go further, the facilitator needs to interview privately everyone before you facilitate an agreement session.
There you go.
So there is the opportunity to perhaps uncover or sense that with someone. Oftentimes, people would tell me, I don't trust so-and-so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what do you need in order to hold on to that lack of trust, but at the same time work optimally with that person? Mm-hmm. And so now we're bringing it back to work observable, audible behaviors. Mm-hmm. And it could be they're always late to meetings, or it could be that their quality of work is not satisfying, or they're always late with their deliverables. It could be something, meetings. In a large major capital project where you've got the large customer and you've got a large engineering company that are building big plants, there's a thing called a change order.
Oh, yeah.
So I facilitated dozens and dozens of change order meetings, and how do we have a healthy conversation? Right. So I discovered that in the interviews. We brought it to the surface, and it's always resolved with some sort of process and behavioral kind of agreement.
Dan, as you were talking, I was thinking, certainly there's this the facilitator establishing a rapport of transparency, and like you said, healthy conversations, which are rare. In many cases, it's a dream. It's rare. So I have to be transparent as a facilitator to say, hey, let's build that rapport. Let's keep going. How does the facilitator in the room, after they've talked to everybody, help to create that transparency? Because we're all in this together, creating this working agreement. How do we have those healthy conversations now and after the facilitator leaves?
Wow, I wish I had another hour with you, but let me try to headline a couple of things. One would be kind of a Gestalt approach. During the interviews, if I learn of that, I will ask that person to practice with me how they're going to bring up something in the agreements workshop. Mm-hmm. That's one way. Another way, and I've got this in the book, it's called the punch list. When I do all the interviews, I want to report back what you said. Uh-huh. But I don't say 10 people said this and 20 people said this. I would say in the report back, I would say, many of you said that we don't clean up agreements or something along that line, or work ethic. Is it okay to continue with an unresolved conflict?
Right.
So that everybody gets the punch list. So everybody knows it. So in my mind, that's another way of bringing transparency, because you said transparency. It helps the individuals know that collectively we've all said, hey, this is working great. This is not that great. And over here is our dirty laundry. So
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Dan, on your website, I've just got to read these numbers because I
Oh,
don't
okay.
remember them. For people who have worked as a group 1 year after, you've done data and you found that 78% increased teammate trust,
Oh, yeah.
61%
Right.
increase in
I know what you're
compliance
talking about
and
now.
yeah, decisions, 46% in mutual support, over $350,000 in cost savings. Okay, I'm sold. Working agreements, yes, we need them. So, what should a facilitator know about, because this is so important, about working agreements? And, we only have limited time on this podcast, but anyone wanting to gain more information, I know that you've been on the INIFAC board long ago. I'm sure you're happy for people to connect with you on LinkedIn and learn
Yes,
more.
absolutely.
Where can someone start?
Okay, well, let me headline just say those numbers that Eileen just mentioned. There's a story. That's one team, and that story is in the book. Okay, so
Okay.
you want to know all the details? It's right here.
All right.
And the way to, I think, way to answer your question, there are three descriptions on how to facilitate the 10 steps. One is a narrative. It's very short and simple. The next one, and Eileen, you and I started out with flip charts. I know there's the
Yeah.
data boards, but you could do them on whiteboards, digital. But I worked on flip charts, so you'll see graphics there, taking the 10 steps and matching them with the graphics. And then the last section, which is mind-numbing, a lot of detail about every step, all the 10 steps. So I think that's the best way I can answer your question about where do you go to learn this process.
And I'm assuming that anyone can learn the process, right? We always say as facilitators, trust the process.
Absolutely. I will say, and I've got a few people that are learning this right now that are in their mid 30s, and they've facilitated it a couple of times, and they haven't been as good. I assure you, you won't hurt anybody if you don't facilitate it perfectly, unless you
That's
start
right.
attacking them. But at the same time, if you're sincere in your facilitation and trying to follow as close as you can to the 10 steps, you'll do fine. And then once you get your fifth and sixth workshop, you're going to learn how to do this. You're going to self-learn.
And my experience is always, once you've realized that you've learned how to do it, you come across a group that says, nope, I still have more to learn. It's just like, come on.
Well, and then let me end on something that you reminded me, you just said. We're trying to help them create the words that they think will help them.
Right.
It's not about us.
Oh, and you've just given me an idea for another podcast. The whole concept about ego, right? Ego and facilitators. And you have to leave your ego at the door. I would think that
Amen.
as part of this process, it really is about serving these people, because
Yes.
they have to do the work agreement. They have to do the work, and the work using the work
Yeah.
agreement. It's not
Right.
your work. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. Okay. Yay. It took me long enough.
Oh, no.
Well, Dan, it has been a sheer delight talking with you. I thank
Likewise.
you for your time and for all that you do for INIFAC. You are quietly working on the sidelines, and we really appreciate everything you do.
Well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.